All right, good evening, y'all. Hey, this is Sterling Grindle. I'm talking to you. Thank you, Mr. John Felix, pronounced Felix. Anywho, uh, Mr. John put me out there. I had a situation. If you log on Bluesteel on the icon and go to my newly established site on YouTube or channel, I'm becoming oriented to the situation. I wasn't prior to this. But anywho, if you go on there, I've created a narrative of this situation. The incident with the law enforcement officers, Alachua County Sheriffs, and the Gainesville Police Department were just part of the situation. The situation lies on other faults that occurred. And such being that the incident with the police was just my final attempt to get attention to the situation that I was facing. And long story short, the big picture was I was not an activist. I was just somebody that was deeply embattled in a certain situation, and I went through all of the steps for corrective action. But the last thing that I could do was stand out there with a sign. And I don't call it a protest. I'm sorry, that's why I wasn't protesting anything. You can just, if you know the area, you just know. Anywho, I was out there trying to get some attention because I had already went through all the channels. Gainesville Housing Authority, the VA, Lottie Dottie and everybody, the county code enforcement, everybody. And so in the end, that's why I stood out there with the sign. I was not prepared to make contact with law enforcement, especially not for an hour and a half. I'm 53 years old, and I was out there for, this happened last year, but I was out there for the main reason of to draw attention. I figured as soon as law enforcement encountered me, if they did, they would go away right away because they knew I had every right to be there. And I told them, I researched this like it was a college term paper, and the only thing I didn't do was have it professionally proofread. But I called the right people and asked the right questions too. So before I stood out there with my 10-foot sign, I would like to compel you to listen to part 1 and part 2. I know it's long. I wouldn't expect you to do it in a day. And just hear, this is your tax money. This is your tax money. All y'all that pay taxes, even if you're on Social Security, when you walk in the grocery store and you buy something, this is your tax money. Some of it goes to me. Some way, shape, or form. Goes to, I don't mean to say it goes to me, but it goes to the programs that are funded to help people like me. Anyway, that being said, I would just like to compel everyone to watch part 1 and part 2. And this is how Alachua County deals with the problems. And I wasn't a problem. I'm somebody that tries to be compliant 100%. I didn't go out there for a fist fight with the police. I didn't go out there to do anything like that. The most important thing that I went out there to do was to get some attention for a situation that was just beyond me, okay, and all my abilities and traits and attributes, because obviously I couldn't go any farther than this. And whenever I did this just happened to be on George Floyd's, George Floyd died the day before. Well, we didn't learn about it till the 26th. And this was that day. When I went home, I didn't even take a leak. I went right in and I called the county tax appraiser and I said to him, sir, I've already called you once. I'm calling you back. Has anyone from law enforcement contacted you? He said, listen here, I've been doing this job for a minute. He meant like 2 decades. or thereabouts. I can't remember exactly, don't quote me. But he said, no one from law enforcement has ever called my office or talked to any of my staff. And I got the telephonic records to show that call. Anyway, long story short, I went home, like I said, I didn't, because that scared the piss out of me, getting jumped by 5 police. There was more, but I only had like 5 of them. Anyway, uh, I just want to say, I thank John Filax. I would like to keep going forward with this. I have went to the district attorney's office to press charges against these officers, and they have delayed me. And when I realized whenever I went in there, I stepped in shit by going to the wrong place, and they just tried to explain me out of there. Like, why are you doing this? This is behind you. You're in a safe place now. Blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, God, you even got all the daytime stamp groups. And I'm like, I know I have a case. I know it meets the minimum threshold because I have the actual evidence and the incidents occurred. And I was lied to under the color of law. And I know this. I mean, you don't have to be very learned to know this. You can just be average like me and know this. And so they dicked me around. They put me on, they sent me an email to try and get up with them because they're unapproachable. I don't know, try and call the Alachua County District Attorney's Office and ask for something. Okay, I wanted from the time I walked in to the time I walked out on the 16th of April, because I know right away them people called the other people, because I felt that I had just been cop-splained out of there, Anyway, when I dealt with them, this is just recently. If you listen on the second part 2, if you listen, there is a portion of me stating that I was going there. Anyway, I went there. I went there. They cop-splained me away. That was on a Friday. On Tuesday, I called them and I said I want my FOIA where I walked in and walked out. Freedom of Information Act. She dicked me around on the phone. I had to call her 3 times. Then, after I called her 3 times, she sent me an email. That's how I was supposed to correspond with them. As soon as I clicked on the email, nothing, it just went away, poof. I know. And ever since I dealt with these people, my phone will not ring out loud. Now, I'm not the smartest person, but I know how to make my phone ring and unring and all that. And it's an Apple. You can ask it to do that, basically. Anyway, my phone won't ring anymore. If I get calls, but it just doesn't ring out loud, and I can't figure it out. Anyway, that's from dealing with them. So I called whenever I got off the phone that Tuesday with them. I was like, she conferred in me that it was done, and I didn't have to call back. Well, I waited like a whole nother 7 business days, not weekends, business days, 7 business days. Anything can happen in 7 business days. So I called her back in 7 business days. The man answered the phone. He said now there's 2 females that sit out front of bulletproof glass, and that's their job is to answer the phone. But he answered the phone and said he wanted to take care of this in all aspects. But I didn't share with him the lady's name was Kay that I spoke to. So he goes back there and he gets all settled up. But whenever I talk to this Kay, she's like, I have a certain amount of time to respond. I know in Florida it's like 20 days, I believe. But why would you do that? Your office is not busy. It's not overrun. I mean, Alachua County is small. Most of Gainesville's students. It's just This is sets the tone for the whole situation from the start to the finish. Now today I went to the Department of Justice just today. I went to the Department of Justice, but they say they're out for COVID. And I called their phone. I didn't leave a message because I'm kind of, wary. Anyway, I called their phone twice. No one answered. And I slid a message under their door to contact me, and I gave my phone number. Now, I just don't. I know that nobody contacted them, but I went to the Alachua County District Attorney's Office, and I know they contacted the Alachua County. And now, with the help of Mr. John Filax, pronounced Felix, it's going to go viral or get, a lot more. It's getting a lot of play. Because I'm a nobody, and I'm going to tell you just the way I look at you, that y'all might not be in airborne, y'all might not be whatever, special forces or SEALs or anything like that, but I'm going to tell you, y'all are fucking cool. And you go out there like real American heroes, for whatever reason, for whatever reason you go out there, y'all are real American heroes. I just want to say that. I look at y'all like that. But I didn't go out there like that. I went out there like this. I went out there to draw an attention. I just happened to bring my phone. I didn't even record for the first hour because I didn't plan on anybody confronting me like that, writing down on me like that and talking shit the whole fucking time. I didn't expect anyone to do anything like that to me, especially law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see that coming. I figured in the least they would be sympathetic, but no, sir. They were overwhelmingly hostile to me, and they even said they were going to stop me from whatever I was doing. That's after I already convicted you. You'll hear it all in my narratives, part 1 and part 2. And this is like some crazy shit, because all I was trying to do was get out of there because it was unsafe and unsanitary. And no one did their job. The only person that's done their job in all this, the only person that's done their job, and it wasn't even their fucking job. It was a man I called. Might have been, my dog had just passed away. I just had my dog put down. And I was trying to address the situation before time run out and such. And anyway, I called Mr. John Felix. I was probably in a state of mania. And I'm sure I was. Because I got issues. But I'm telling you like this here, Mr. John Felix is the only one in this whole process that's done anything, and he's not even part of the process. But and he's not, a GS11 or 13, making 50, 80 grand a year. He's not that man. He's the hero though, because he's an activist, and I followed him, and I followed y'all on the YouTube. And that's what I do. And I just want to show y'all. Oh, I'm a dummy. I'm still learning all this, but I kick ass on video games. Oh well. If you go over there it is. There's my videos, part 1 and part 2. And this is the shithole I lived in. This is your tax money. That's your tax money. for all this that has to do with me, I live off y'all's taxes. And this is where your tax money is going. If you watch this, this is the whole. I'm not alone. That's why I want y'all, whoever will listen, I want y'all to spread this like wildfire. I don't get no money from this. I'm not. I do have a call to action because I see. Listen, I learned a lot in college. I got a human service degree in human service. And I went to school in upstate New York, so you can believe that I was cultured to injustice. But I'm going to tell you, this is the norm. And this is your tax money. And I live off your tax money. And this is where it's going. Now, I'm in a nice place now. Believe me. It just didn't happen because of whatever. But this is where they ship me to. And there's other people out there living like this that don't need to be. And this is where your money, if you listen to part 1 and part 2, I got to get used to all this video stuff. I just bought a tablet to do what I did. It was very hard because I haven't worked since 2010. So technology passed me by, except for my phone. But I realized Apple doesn't even have a pause button for video. I had to overcome all that. Anywho, and those that give me constructive criticism about my photography skills, be assured that I would never have even imagined coming out there and seeing cops all over me for an hour and a half. But it happened. And so, long story short, these people need to be dealt with. Am I going to sue them? Yeah. I'm going to do what I can. Now's the time. This is the hour, and I'm taking action. Mr. John Filax. Oh, I appreciate what you did for me, and I appreciate what your constituents and your peers that associate with you in this network of activists. I just want to say, that's cool. All right, I'm going to let y'all go. I just wanted to put this out there and thank you. And be sure and watch part 1 and part 2. If you're not doing none, when you're on the pooper or something like that, when you get up in the morning, you're hating the world, you can wake up and hate these motherfuckers and hate that you're going to work. And your tax money is going into shitholes and fucked up ass fucking situations like this. Because this is not no one common occurrence. Anyway, I'm going to end. Thank y'all. Thank you, Mr. John Filax. Oh. Okay.